One of the many issues that we're going to discuss that has nothing to do with the price of gas, how much my house is worth, or if
your house is worth something?
Well, it is. Actually, I shouldn't complain.
It's no joke.
I've done okay in my neighborhood, but most neighborhoods haven't.
It's no
but
joke.
those things that affect people every single day of when they get up in the morning, I think are going to be much more important than many social issues.
Well, and agreed. I think that is more important, and that is why Mitt Romney's going to have the advantage, because he's the economic guy and the pro-business candidate. And, you know, Barack Obama's had 3.5 years. Things aren't going well. I mean, he's had his opportunity.
It's the economy.
Right.
And as I asked our viewers to weigh in on the live chat about the market, it's the Dow closed at 12,500. I mean, that's
bad.
It's bad. And I hope it's better today for all of us. And we'll monitor the open. It's not that far away. But I want to put up a poll that really struck me today, because how do people feel right now? We have till November for you to actually cast your vote. And gosh, I am really hoping, particularly women, will go out there and be heard, because it's so important. Your vote's going to count this time, probably more than it ever had in our lifetime so far. But look at this poll when they put Mitt Romney and Barack Obama on the handling of the economy, the #1 issue. This is ABC News, Washington Post poll today. They're tied. I can't even say one's better than doing better than the other, or perceived to be doing better than the other, or would do better than the other within the margin of error. Dead heat. I mean, literally tied. Eric, what do you think about that?
Well, dead heat, and I think flawed strategies on both sides. I think that Romney's, you know, introducing himself as a guy who created jobs was probably a mistake out of the gate. And I agree with many other Democrats who are being very vocal right now about saying, you know, but don't knock the guy for making money at Bain. He made money in a free market, in a competitive market. He made money. It wasn't about jobs. It was he did his job and he made money, and that is a good thing. So, you know, that's going to be that's the battle. That's the issue.
My producer read my mind, because David Larson wants to know, and Dee Dee, tell us, Jamie, can either of your guests say where health care went downhill?
Well, all I know is ObamaCare is not a good plan. It's too much government. Again, I think people should be able to get their own health care. I don't think the government should force you to really do much of anything. So,
should the states be allowed to make those decisions if they want to mandate within their state?
Better for it to be the state than federal. Nothing works. Almost nothing seems to work well. I mean, I think that we need to have a commander-in-chief so we are protected in our country. But when it comes to education, when it comes to health care, the more local, the better. Because anything on the federal level is not working. It just isn't, especially in healthcare. So Eric's right about that, but I don't think Obamacare is the answer. So hopefully...
WV Man 47 says government has no right to tell anyone what they have to buy or supply for personal issues.
Agreed. Agreed.
They don't like it.
And as far, you know, in getting to the other question about Bain Capital, you know, there are 6,000 Hoosiers that have jobs in my home state of Indiana thanks to Bain. So he has created jobs, and a lot of them.
Well, do you think that the administration, because David Axelrod did sort of backtrack a bit on the comments, the whole Cory Booker, what he said, I heard Brian Kilmeade say that he watched the whole interview and that Cory Booker's comments were not taken out of context. What do you think?
They weren't taken. I saw the whole interview too. They weren't taken out of context at all. I mean, he backpedaled a little bit, you know, within 12 hours because he came out kind of strong. But, you know, Romney did his job at Bain. Period. End of story. He did what he was supposed to do as the top guy. To bash that seems ridiculous.
Does that mean that's all the administration has to complain about Mitt Romney's
I think
record?
that,
Because now they're saying...
This is what's going to happen next. This is what will happen next. We're going to look at every single... There's hundreds of companies, well, say 100 companies that were in the portfolio that under Romney's watch. They're going to take out every single one of those 100 companies and find out were they staple? You know, did they become staples? Because that was one company that's done great. Everybody knows, big success story. A lot of people employed there. Or was it the steel company that the whole town disappeared because it didn't work out? You know, unfortunately, you could draw, if you're a Republican, a real parallel to what we did with the auto industry, because when we took over, the auto industry, we didn't go in and just We laid off a lot of people. We had to. We cut back. We closed plants. It was the only way to survive and see a car manufacturer flourish again. That's what a business person had to do. That's what was Romney's job at Bain. That's all he did.
But the administration is arguing that they saved the auto industry, you know, with bailouts.
Well,
they tacked down
money.
on corruption. And let me read this comment from Rex Christie, who's writing on our live chat. Obama's war on religion and the Catholic Church defies our First Amendment. He has to go, but Mitt enacted similar policies to Obama as governor. Can you distinguish what Mitt Romney did in his home state as governor, Dee? Because today the administration is saying, isn't it interesting that Mitt Romney isn't talking about his record in his home state, that he's pushing what he did at Bain?
I think he talks about what he did in his state. However, right now, the #1 issue in our country is the economy. So I think it's smart for him to talk about Bain and his business experience. And I think the Democrats are really on thin ice here because you're playing on our playing field. I don't know why they're doing that. I think criticizing Bain and bringing up over and over again that Mitt Romney's a business guy is a flawed strategy. I think it's, hey, you know, you've got Cory Booker who jumped in and said, wait a minute, why is this happening without thinking? And then obviously he walked it back because clearly he got a phone call.
But what Romney's going to have to do, which he's in somewhat of a defensive posture, one is Romney has done an incredible job at reacting. He always reacts fast. You know, I talked about this last week. John Kerry, when he was running for president, didn't one issue, done. That was it for him. Romney's really good at reacting, so they're set up well. But it's, you know, when you take he needs to answer in soundbite answers the tough questions, so the average person understands, because people don't even understand what Bain does. What does this come? Are they a corporate raider? Isn't that like Wall Street, the bad movie?
Romney has been apologizing for his financial success from the minute he got
that.
in the race.
That's a problem.
That's right.
And when I sat down,
you apologize.
He should say, I made money, I'm successful, that's what you can do in our country if you work hard. And I think it's wrong. He really needs to own that. I think it's a positive thing.
You know who agrees with you? When I sat down with former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, he said, I don't understand why he's apologizing for his success. It's what we all, you know, dream
We all
of.
want that.
Let me just read
He's
some
gonna
of these.
I will predict he will stop apologizing for that, because
Let's hope
everyone's
so.
reading it the same way. You don't need to apologize for making money. It's okay.
And he earned it.
Yeah, go on the offensive.
Karen Henke says the auto industry we were talking about still owes us $35 billion. Bain Capital was private investors. Big difference.
Yes.
Kathy Amadon says Mitt Romney's economic accomplishments as governor of Massachusetts is a far-left economic track record. Is that true?
Well, it is Massachusetts, and you know, when you're dealing with a difficult state as a Republican, you're probably going to have to do some things you are not as comfortable with. But if you're talking Massachusetts and what President Obama has done, okay, perhaps it's a wash. I wouldn't even say that. I'd be more generous, but let's just say it's a wash. On top of that, Mitt Romney has created jobs, and he is a business guy. Obviously, even the Democrats are talking about it, trying to criticize and nitpick, as you've said, Eric, but still, he's in the game. He's done it. I mean, all business people have had successes and failures, but at least they know business. I would rather have a business guy that's had a few failures, along with big success as well, than a community organizer, because clearly, economic policy is not working well for the Obama administration.
Community organizing, if that poll that we put up, if we could put it up one more time, is the real deal on the economy, then the Obama administration has not community organized very well on the economy. If Mitt Romney, who's newly in, not even the official candidate, is tied, he does have the business experience. Some people will say, like, if he picks someone like a Michael Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City, who is a multi-billionaire, that the business and economic experience that they have is exactly what we need. So do you think he will stop apologizing for his private investor success?
I hope so, because he definitely needs to own it and say, look, I am a success story, a business guy. I got there by making some mistakes, but I've learned, I've created jobs. I mean, like you said, Staples is huge. That alone is more than what Barack Obama's done for business.
And on the apologizing part and the experience part, do you think, Eric, that the fact that he had a health care plan that is often said to be a template for what President Obama wants us to have in this country, if he did it already and he saw that there were some mistakes made in that plan, it's better to have someone who may need to pick up the pieces no matter how the Supreme Court decides and give us health care in our country that does work. Someone that's been there and done it is better than someone that's sitting and waiting for a decision.
I know.
And you're a Democrat, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very.
I just want to clarify.
Oh,
for-
my friends,
for our
please. I'm
listeners.
still a Democrat. I know I'm here every
Okay.
week. I'm still a Democrat.
But do you think it's better
no,
to have someone who's been there and done it and can make the changes that are necessary for us to have better health care?
I think this country in general is just hurting when it comes to health care. I mean, we're ranked 36th in the world behind countries that you never heard of with our healthcare system. It's a problem, period. And so I don't think any amount of experience is going to compensate for that. We need to really focus on what we do to take care of people in this country. We don't do it well.